And hey guys, welcome to another exciting edition of On with Scott, powered by Live Circuit Radio. I am your host, Scott Moore, and I am here joined with the founder of Audiojack, David Tobin. It's so good to finally have you here, sir.
Thanks a lot, man.
I have been, you're a hard get. You're always out and about, so I'm just glad to finally get you here in the studio, because I think Audiojack, I've been kind of following from the beginning. Since you first started, I find it really, really cool. What is your elevator pitch? Like, what is Audiojack for everyone out there?
Okay, an Audiojack is an audio-based movie. There's no words, there's no video, and there's no music. It's hundreds of sound effects that are layered together to tell a story. So you might hear some wind blowing, some feet walking, the sound of a door opening, and then some glass breaks. Well, your imagination and memory kick on, and you start to create a story based on what you're hearing. And that's essentially what an Audiojack is. That's what the defined term of it is. We take Audiojacks, and they're between like 7 and 10 minutes long. The concept of an Audiojack could be however long you want, but they're 7 to 10 minutes long. And there's a story behind every one of them, but we never tell anyone what the actual story is. That way there's never a wrong answer. So it's up to your imagination to create what's going on in the narrative. So if you think you're a chicken walking through the forest looking for eggs, that's fine. That's great, man. That's whatever the story is, that's fine. If you think you're a robot trying to save the world, cool. That's what the story is too. It's up to you to create what it is. We don't tell you what it is with them. And then what we do is we've taken these Audiojacks, and for right now what we're doing with them is we add them to custom lesson plans in education. And this is more than an elevator pitch, so I'm kind of...
Well, no, now we can move on from the elevator
okay,
pitch.
there we go.
At least we got
yeah. Do you want me to continue on with it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we take these Audiojacks and we add them to custom lesson plans in education. They're used in English, art, language arts, writing, even history.
Wow.
The history ones, we do tell you a little bit about what they are. So we'll say, okay, this one's about the gold rush. And you'll hear like a train pulling into a station, someone walking on some wood planks and then getting on a horse, trotting off, and then a river comes into view, or into, you start hearing a river and they hop off the horse, get it down, start panning for gold or whatever, and then you hear that, and then they trot off. Now you feel like after listening to it, when you engage in an Audiojack, you're there in the moment. And so you retain that information differently. So instead of watching a stupid video of some guy on TV that's a really cheesy actor trying to do whatever, you feel like you've been there. So when you start talking about it, you have a frame of reference that's way deeper and way more connected than anything you would have had out of a video a teacher would have used or anything like that. And there's a bunch of other levels. The education is right now what we're focusing on with the company. We're in public schools, private schools, after-school programs, summer programs with Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs.
So cool.
So many different people. We work with the blind a lot. We're with Perkins School for the Blind.
Which was a big thing for me because I do a lot of volunteering for the blind. And I do. I think, I don't even know where to begin, but like how did you kind of go with this route? Like what made you think and kind of create this Audiojack? Because it's such a unique concept, but it's also in a way, it's something... I don't want to say like simple, but it's a pretty easy digestible idea in a way, but yet it's so different. Like, how did you come across with this idea? Where did this come from?
I was changing a light bulb and I slipped on the toilet and hit my head. And came up with no, I did not come up with the flux capacitor.
Yes, the flux capacitor, exactly.
No, I have a background in TV and an even deeper background in music as well too. I've been a musician. I play a bunch of instruments, and so I have that kind of inside, and then I've produced TV for years, and so that's in there. And literally one day, I was editing a pilot back at my place, and one of the pilots that I was working on at the time, and that's like, that's an awesome sound. Yeah, and then I hear sounds, and I'm like,
I think it did it on purpose too, just to look at that. Ooh. So you're already making sounds right here. You're doing an Audiojack right here.
Okay, I'll stop right now.
No, that was actually really cool because I hear it in only one ear too, so it's even more like esoteric and like ooh.
Nice, great. I'm gonna freak out all your listeners. Like, what the hell is going on? So I was basically working on that, and my buddy I needed to update some software, and he gave me some sound effects, and with that, I'm like, what do I need these for? He's like, I don't know. I thought they were cool, and I went through the library of them, and I started going through these. I'm like, wait a minute, this is pretty neat. And I started just putting them together because I love Legos, and I like putting stuff together, whatever it may be. And so I took this and I started putting them together. And literally the next day, I had a roommate at the time, and he woke up in the morning, and he's like, what the hell's going on in your room, man? It sounds like Red Dawn. And there was like airplanes, and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know, it's an Audiojack. And I just took that and kind of ran with it and started expanding and making more of them and developing it into something else. And it became kind of a fun thing that was out there. But I really I have a big passion for education. My mom's a teacher. I speak at schools. I volunteer a lot. And so what I try to do is get involved with that. And I wanted to leave entertainment in some capacity, but I didn't want to go back to graduate school because that's really tough.
I know. So I hear you. I agree with you. I've been like, entertainment, but still be creative, but not have to go back to grad school.
Yeah, exactly. Like I did grad school. You know what? That was back then. That was cool then. Now, no way, man. I'm not. I mean, God bless everyone that does.
Right. I agree.
And so I started. I asked my mom if we could try it with some of her students, some other friends that are teachers, and just started really very basic trials. And all of a sudden, we were getting these crazy results. Like kids were, instead of writing paragraphs, were writing pages.
Wow. And
the quality of work went up, and they were engaged, and they weren't like. They were, having great debates, and we were focusing on all this stuff, and it just kept running, and it started snowballing. And then at one point I said, you know what? I'm done with TV for now. I called up my agent, said, hey, I'm out. And he's like, you're what? I said, I got a thing. And he's like, all right, cool. And he said, great, go do it. And he gave me a blessing. And I did that, and I jumped off, and it's been incredibly tough, but incredibly rewarding because, let alone trying to convince people in education of something new, something that's fun, and wait a minute, this is an audio,
right? And like that's kind of different. And how do you explain it to teachers and staff there and educators? Like, what is it exactly? What do we do?
Yeah,
what are the kids going to get out of this?
Yeah, exactly. And then you just do it with them, and once you hear an Audiojack, everything changes. It's like, I think I get it. It's kind of cool, I guess. And the next thing you do it, it's like, oh, okay. Wow, this is amazing, and I want this now. And I guess right now would probably be a good time. You want to play one?
Yeah, we definitely. Because I had the same thing too. I had to go on the website because I always saw your posts. Because again, like education is very close to my heart, and working for the blind and everything is very close to me. And you always had talked about it, and I was like trying to get it. I'm like, what? It doesn't have any story.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was going to ask you. So you do actually plan the stories when you do it. So you have it in mind, but nobody ever sees it, or do the teachers see it?
No one knows. My parents don't even know.
So they don't even know. So it's like you come up with them, and then you just put it out there and just say whatever everyone else thinks is fine, kind of thing. So nobody else ever knows. Really.
No one, because it's
that's cool.
It's like you hear a song on the radio and you're with your girl and you're like, oh baby, it's our jam, and then someone says, oh, it's about a car.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that sucks. And it's that element of it. It's it's about leaving something for the imagination. My whole thing is, take back your imagination.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. We have phones, we've got computers, everyone's in front of this. I see parents with their kids, and they give them, instead of a toy, they give them their phone or their iPad. And I want to walk over and smack them in the face and break it, because that's the worst thing you could do to a kid. Everyone says, oh, it makes them smarter. They're doing these learning things. And like, no, you're actually making your kid dumb
and more dependent, and I agree with you, and that's part of the thing that I really love about this is the fact that you're bringing it back to kind of stepping away from all that and using your imagination. And that's something that kids, I think, is really important. I was just having an interview with someone about this the other day, and we were talking about that and just how, like you said, people are just so dependent on giving their kids a tablet to distract them and keep them quiet, and they don't ever take any time to really use their imagination, because if they're not doing a tablet, they're playing a video game, or they're watching TV, or they're watching a movie. And even now in the movie theater, it's like they do the second screen things for some kids. And I'm like, really? You've got to get away from all that. And I think it's really great that you've kind of brought it back to the basics of using the imagination, which is so important. And I think for everybody too, even as adults, this is good. Like when you're sitting on the plane and you just want to veg out, and it's just a good way to kind of get your brain to kind of calm down. For adults, I think, I wouldn't quite say meditation, because sometimes you get a lot of loud some of the ones I was listening to, but it kind of is in a way.
It does.
It kind of gets your mind off of the day-to-day stuff and lets you kind of focus on this. And even for adults, I think it's really great just step back and get a chance to be creative. And I just think it's such a cool thing, because it's so different. Like, how many of them do you do?
Well, we've got a ton of them, and I have a team of creators making them as well now. I've kind of stepped back. I still make some, but I've trained and brought other people on, and we've got them
so cool.
in all parts of the country, because they can email them, and I can send them notes. Very similar process when I was doing TV shows. You work with your editor, you give them notes, they go back and cut it and come back.
So cool. I love the creativity of that. It's so fun.
And it's now expanded. It's not just in schools. I mean, and it does put you in a meditative state. We have the blindfolds that people buy, and you go in that world, so you don't put your head down, and you're in this meditative state. So you're not distracted. That's the whole thing. Is like if you're doing other stuff with an Audiojack, you're not going to get the experience. But we have there's programs using it with senior citizens. We
Great.
just started an autistic program this month
awesome.
that people are starting to roll that out, like the stuff I do with the blind and other people.
That's awesome.
In that world. And then on top of that, we've got I had a meeting with Unitable Cerebral Palsy yesterday about doing stuff in that world and creating other things. And
Love it.
we have other stuff for health and other areas that we're developing right now, working with some very big schools. Like hopefully we're going to be talking to NYU very soon.
Wow.
We've got some stuff going over there. We've talked to other people in different areas that are really excited about taking this and doing more with it. And then there's no language barrier.
Right.
You break a glass, it doesn't go le brick in
Exactly,
France.
right.
That does not happen.
Right.
So
It's like a universal.
completely universal. So
Yeah.
we're working in other countries. We're working in other areas with it as well too. And there's really no limits to it. We have fitness ones we're doing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
It is. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I really, it's brilliant. It's such a really cool concept. I can't even speak highly enough about it because I just think it's so cool. And I just envision.
And I just slipped him $100 bill to say that, just so you know. Just
I wish,
Yeah.
yes. But the thing I love about it too is it kind of reminds me back of the old day, like the old timey radio shows.
Oh, yeah.
They're making all the sound effects in the corner and everything. It's like that's what it makes me think of when I hear it. I'm like, you guys should do that.
Yeah.
Bring back the old timey studio and go and start making them.
Yeah, do our own Foley. Well, we have to
Yeah.
with some of these. Sometimes it'll be like you're making one
Yeah, like
and you don't
it's
have the
so
sound.
cool.
You're like, what do I do? And like, all right, well, I'm going outside. And you go run out there
Yeah.
and you make your own sound.
Yeah.
And I was kind of raised on that. I mean, my parents were very encouraging of the arts and things like that. And also I listen to those old radio shows. I listen to
Love
stuff
all
like
that.
that growing up and, watch movies like that. And just really, I mean, that's what makes us humans. That's what makes us so different than other
Absolutely.
animals is not just, the fact that we have an opposable thumb, but the fact that we have a brain and imagination and creativity and we can step outside the box and do that to challenge ourselves and grow. And when you see parents on the phone and their kids doing whatever and they're not
Yeah.
connecting. You're missing, every time you're doing that, you're missing an opportunity to connect. And that connection is what helps us become more human.
Right.
And you put an electronic device in front of someone, guess what? You're not giving them that opportunity, and it all adds up over time.
It does.
You're losing days and weeks of your life by being in front of a phone or a
Absolutely.
toy instead of taking a walk. Even I mean,
Yeah,
you
just
take
immersing yourself
Yeah.
outside. And I admit, I really do feel like the phone has made me more ADD. Between the phone and the tablet and, constant emails and texting and everything else, I feel like I have a shorter attention span than I did even when I was younger. And
Yeah.
to me, something like this is something that could supplement, reading to your kid at night. It's like you could read to your kid at night, and then you could also do a 5-minute Audiojack and then talk to your kid afterwards. Like, where did you go? What did you
Yeah.
what did you hear? What and both you and your kid could listen to it and have totally different kind of viewpoints of it, and you could talk about it. And I think it's just really neat because, like you said, there's so many different things and so many different ways that you could incorporate this in all across the world for all different facets of life. So it's really cool. So yeah. We should definitely listen to one right now.
All right.
And so we should tell the listeners right now that they should just sit back, and if they don't have a blindfold or anything, they should just close their eyes and just totally shut out the rest of the world.
Yes.
And listen to this and and just let your imagination go and really just go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Just let it go. Just
Let it go.
Whatever you start to come up with, that's what the story is. That's a great thing. And I want to hear what you guys think. This, what you come up with this story. And this one is, and I'll give you a little bit. This one's a little more. Well, I'll just play it. And that is an Audiojack.
Ooh. That was is that the one that's on the website?
Yeah, that is.
Okay, because I know I went back and listened to
that's
to
in the
them again
sample
yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, so first off, was it you in it, or were you watching someone or something go through it?
No, it was me in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like I was. It was interesting because then you get to almost. Well, for me, it was like I was starting out where I felt like I was walking out in like a open space, but I was still in the city, maybe like in the Sepulveda Dam area here in LA. Like you're still in an urban area,
yeah,
but you were out away from everything because I could hear the airplane going overhead and a lot of other noises. But then it was weird because I thought I heard like an animal, like a lion or something. So I was like, oh, kind of took me out of it a little bit. And then I felt like I was walking back to like my house, which was maybe on the outskirts of that park. I heard the dogs bark, although I didn't hear a door open, but it felt like all of a sudden I was back in and then I was playing a video game.
Okay.
And that's what it felt like to me. Like I was playing a video game and then I was wrapping up the game and but I was still in, kind of in a rural-ish area because I could hear the ducks and there's like a pond nearby. So I just felt like I was just right there in the outskirts of like being in an urban area and I was playing a video game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what your listeners can come up with now.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
What did you envision in that one? You don't have a mic? Get him a mic.
I know, sir doesn't have a mic.
Swing your mic. Can I swing the mic over here to you? Can I swing my mic over to you? Here, take that.
See, that's really weird because he had a whole different idea from what I had going on in my
So
mind.
basically my idea was wrong. No, just kidding. I know. That's what's great about it. That's why I love it.
It's so funny because, okay, so when it first came on, I thought that I was at war.
Okay.
That was like instant. Like as soon as I heard just like walking and leaves, and I automatically thought I was in a jungle and I was at war. So then I hear these planes go over, and like in my head, like I duck down.
Okay.
And then, next thing I know, I start hearing, all types of gunshots and stuff, and I was there. I was at war. And then like towards the end, I feel like I missed the big bomb. Okay. And then I get up and I see that everybody's pretty much dead besides me.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I got from it.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah, I
now,
do.
wait, what was your time of day? What was yours time of day? If you had, I'll say it on here. If you had to pick a time of day.
The sun was just going down.
See,
right,
me
so
too.
okay.
That's exactly what I had. I had like late after, like
right.
evening, the sun was going down, and that's why I was going home because I was going through like the woods.
Nice. I like
and,
that.
Yeah, it was weird. But although I was kind of felt like at first I was hunting, but then I realized it wasn't hunting. I guess because I changed my mind. And I was like, oh, now I'm going back.
Yeah.
To my house, and then I went and played like a video game because that's how it felt to me. But I felt like I was still in like the city, and I was just walking through the grass, and I could hear the crunching. But it was definitely evening too, so that's interesting. You had the same exact thing that I had.
Yeah, and so that's what's great about this. I mean, and now when you're doing this in class, like with a lesson or something like that, what you're going to do, you'll listen to it once with your blindfold on, then you listen to it again, and then you brainstorm. And then you're making up the story. You're making it whatever you want it to be. You're making yours like this. You're refining that story. You're like, this is what I want it to be. I'm going to take this to this level and do that. You're going to do that with yours. And then after you're done brainstorming, it'll play a couple more times while you do your work. Then after it's done, everyone shares. You're drawing your story, whatever performance piece or this, or you're doing your history work, whatever it is that you're doing with it. and then everyone kind of has something to share, and you can go back and basically discuss the different options and things like that you've come up with. And the great thing is you listen to it again and you might well, no, this time I want it to be different.
Right.
I want it to be this. It can be whatever you want.
See, the thing is, you'd have to wait till later before everyone shares, because then I'm already thinking, oh, maybe I want to change mine.
Yeah, exactly, right? You're like, well, no.
Now I'm like, oh, yeah, I could see the war thing, because the whole gun shooting thing and all that, it sounded video game-ish to me. But then I thought, well, I never heard a door open, but somehow I was there. So I was like, maybe he's like, me being he is like outside, and like the video game setup is like out in the garage or something, and he's just going up and playing, because I heard the dogs, and I felt like then the dog was like jumping up on me. There was like that one sound effect where it was like it sounded like he was
that's cool. See, that's what's great about it, is that you can take that and use your imagination to create whatever you want with that concept. And you'll hear I've been doing this for years. I've heard so many different stories with this one from so many different people. I mean, I've heard I'm a bear in the forest trying to get away, and then they sent this big robot in to try to get me, and da-da-da-da-da. I've heard other people say, like, I mean, all sorts of stuff, like, it's E.T., it's this, it's that, it's I'm watching something happen. It could be, it could be really, it's whatever you want it to be in that time frame, and that's the great thing about this, that it allows complete freedom to do whatever, and there's no wrong answer. No one's going to, no one can tell you, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
They can, but
then
they're wrong.
I was going to say, or you could, because you made the story a certain way, but
you'll
never tell.
I will never tell anyone.
It's a secret.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this, is that it's to give you a little bit of something. No one's going to tell you wrong. I want people to be able to do this, and even the creators that I work with, the other people on the team, I encourage them not to tell me, but they'll tell me when we're working through stuff, and they're like, I don't know, what do you think it is, man? And I'll be like, this. And I'm like, nah. Well, good. I'm glad you think that. And I'm like, thanks. And so that's what's been going on. It's been really neat to see, like, the advent of education. Actually, this week we just got approved by the California Office of Education.
Wow.
They're supporting Audiojack.
That's great.
And it's rolling out in a lot of different areas and whatnot. And a lot of different things are happening with it. And it's people are finally realizing that everyone's being stimulated on such a level,
right? And
they're being hit in such a way that the kids, you cannot reach them. You have to reach them on their own level. So let's strip it down, stimulate their mind on the same level, and get them to do the work we need them to do.
Right. And in a way, it's that cool thing, because you can use a tablet or your phone, and so you still feel like, in a way, you're using that, but you're using it a different way, so it can kind of still reach the kids in that sense.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's
you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, and that's just one part of the thing.
And, yeah, but no, what if somebody, like, not in the school system, or just regular adult that wants to take them, and how do they sign up for Audiojack?
They need to get in touch with the site. We can set up personal subscriptions for people, and it's all streaming, it's all online, and we have different stuff for them. And we have some other stuff that's going to be rolling out at the beginning. I don't know. I mean, the tech we're working on right now is a little heavy that we're dealing with, but basically by January we'll have a full, huge commercial line that we're rolling out for the general public as well. But right now, they can get in touch with us, and we can do stuff with them as well too, for people that don't have it at their school. But we tell a lot of people, just ask your principal or get in touch with us, and a lot of them say, "Oh, great, let's do this." It's not too tough to them to bring it in and stuff and get it going. And I just said stuff, I think, like 7 times.
No, that's fantastic. So it's audiojack.com. It's very easy. You can go up there. You can listen to the sample yourself.
Yeah.
You have like a couple on there, didn't you? You have another one too?
Well, there's a sample on there. There's the samples on the site. And then there's a couple of interviews from other shows and stuff like that have this within them, and different examples. But yeah, on the site there's that main one. Mostly that's kind of it. We want to encourage people to go through the program to get it and go that way with it. But that's generally it. And then and yeah, I think I'm trying to think what else my imagination's shot.
No, but
do you have any other? Yeah,
well, like, where would you like to see Audiojack continue to go? Is it more of the education route? Do you want to have it more open where people can just download it off of iTunes, or like where you would like to see it go in the future?
Well, I think honestly where I want it to be is honestly to say, as I hit your microphone,
you're just making sounds.
I just want to make more sounds. Just annoy everyone that's listening.
No,
I'm really into this one still.
Yeah, it is, but it's cool because it goes right with your theme now, right? It's like just making sounds.
And it just resonates so well. You can still hear it. But wait. 2 different tones. Anyway, okay, I'm going to stop being 4.
No, I love it. But isn't that part of the thing of like creating? You get to be like a kid again. You get to kind of do whatever you want to do there with that.
It really is neat. I mean, it's pretty fun. It took a long time to get here. But I think the future for Audiojack is really education was the first step because I wanted people to realize that this was something more than a novelty and just something fun you do at a dinner party, that there's integrity to this, that it actually does help kids engage and be smarter. It actually helps, it makes people smarter by doing it, which is a big part of this. And I'm really passionate about that because I feel like, I can go on a whole tirade about our education system and how there's people fighting for it and there's people who aren't. And, it's just trying to give kids and teachers more ammo to help make it easier and better for everyone. But I think the big thing is to keep this going, and our other divisions that are starting up, like with health and doing things like that in that world. There's a hospice division as well. We have product that we're developing for a really big hospice company right now.
Wow.
And doing things like that to give people more dignity in death and
Wow.
things like that.
That's a really
other
great
areas.
Yeah,
for
I
it.
mean, like you said, there's so many different directions you
Yeah.
can go in with that.
The big aspect is that what we're doing is we're going to be allowing people to make their own audio jacks and open up the whole platform to everyone around the world and allow everyone to have it at audiojack.com. That's why we're trying to get people to sign up, be a part of the site now. Hang out, wait with us for a little bit, and then very soon you'll be able to make your own. It'll all be streaming. You can talk to someone in China and listen to theirs while someone in Singapore is talking about yours.
I think that's
And let it just
fantastic.
kind of be
That's
a community
smart.
and
That's
let it all be
smart.
together.
Because that's sort of like a new way that you could share social media-wise, like,
Yeah.
here's my audio jack and everything.
Yeah, and you can comment on it and you can write and you can read what everyone around the world does. And our site right now is translated into 37 different languages.
That's amazing. That is so cool. And have you found that there's a certain amount of time that works best for these audio jacks for like kids or for different directions? There are different time limits. Are there different...
I think 7 to 10 minutes is a great time because once you get into it, it gets very meditative and you kind of zone out, and it's fantastic because it's over and you're like, holy. I don't want to swear, but like, oh my gosh, time flew by and you don't feel like it has. And we use these from ages 3 all the way till 103. Which is, the full range. And people are like, oh, my kid's so rambunctious. Well, you put the blinders on them, you put the mask on them, give them the audio jack, and they're out cold. And they're into it, and they're engaged. Even, like, we have autistic children who need that stimulation, who are more mellow after doing an audio jack. And so it puts you in that meditative state, and it takes you there. So the range is really whatever. I like them a little bit longer because I like to get lost into them and let the story go and zone out and then, go wherever.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's an amazing concept. It's so cool. And I'm so glad I finally got you to come in to talk about it with us.
I'm sorry, man.
No, you're
I've been
but it's
all
great.
over the place.
But, I mean, congratulations. I mean, you're the creator, the founder. I mean, you put this whole thing together, and it's such a cool concept. And everyone needs to go check it out, audiojack.com. Because you're definitely going places with this, so tell them to sign up now so they can get on the ground floor before this thing really takes off. But I think it's great. I being close to my heart with education and working with blind people and everything, and just all the different directions you could go in. And I had fun even listening to it again last night, and same kind of thing, and just letting my mind go. And of course,
great.
mine wasn't as creative, I don't think. But
No, it is though. I mean, that's a fact. I think it is
boring. I was like, I'm just like walking in the forest and going back and playing video games. But I think that's just what I do every day. So, but it's great. And again, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Everything, David Tobin. So glad to have you. Audiojack.com. Definitely check it out. Awesome site. And thanks again for everyone. And we'll be back same time next week.